Lama live from the comfort of our kitchen table here in Sydney. How are you, Yvonne?
Good. Just clocking up the Ks. Tomorrow's a rest day. Looking forward to that.
And the sun's out. You can't see it, but it's behind us or above us or something here. Beautiful 31, 32 degree day. Mm-hmm. Epic tan lines. I'm sort of hiding them away, but really, really good day for a ride today. Bit of an easterly coming back in from Captain Cook's Drive. But yeah, heading out was a bit of a pain, but coming back home, so good training. So I found a route the other day in Sydney here that was almost dead flat, because Von keeps coming home from the bike bug rides, the Rafa rides, saying it's so hilly, it's hilly. And I've found this route that's almost dead flat, and I love it. I'm like, what are you talking about, the hills? But we did go out yesterday and find a hilly ride.
Yeah, that was great. Got a local to take us out and about.
Yep.
A couple of the ladies, and I was clinging for dear life to their wheels.
We just happened to stumble upon that had to be 13 to 14%. That, what was it? It was, I don't know what it's called. Yeah. Von's like, no, I'm stopping. Von stopped. That's the worst thing you can do.
Worst idea ever.
You just had to keep going through a steep hill. If you hit a steep hill, start zigzagging. It was a closed road. So the video I did on leg day, I'll see if I can go out there when I'm back in town. More about that in a sec. We'll do leg day on that hill. It's going to be...
I think I need to give it another shot.
Yeah, we'll get Von out and do leg day with Von. Because this hill is, no matter how hard you go up, just to stay upright is leg day.
Leg day.
Cool. So, I'm off to the US on Monday, our time. Flying over there for a week. Zwift have invited me over to the Long Beach HQ to discuss all things Australia, all things indoor cycling, do a bit of planning for their tour down under. And I also cover a lot of Zwift content on the channel as well. So it's going to be great to catch up with those guys to find out what they're doing, where they're heading, maybe get some behind the scenes information. So I'll see what I can bring you there. Zwift iOS can't be too far away.
Yeah, there was an update last night.
Yeah, one of the features on the Zwift iOS version was when you hit end, it quit the game or quit the app.
Yeah.
I think the thing in the App Store, or one of Apple's requirements, is you can't quit the app within the app or something. So it now goes back to a home screen. So I think they're very close for a release. So I'll be over in the US, and on that, and I'll ping them the questions about that too, because I'm just generally interested in the technology and also the time frame. So we never really get a time frame for when things are going to be out. They just sort of pop up. So yeah. I'm expecting that soon. I'll be there for the Thanksgiving holidays and Black Friday. I won't have enough luggage room to bring much home. But there's 2 days off. So if anybody's in LA, let me know what I can do. Last time I had a day in LA, or actually 2 days in LA, I spent the 1 day in Disneyland, and Von was really jealous. But do I bring you home a t-shirt from that?
Yeah.
Actually, no, I brought you home a t-shirt from...
Long Beach.
Not Long Beach, it was Santa Monica Pier. Because the first day I went to Disneyland, amazing, the original Disneyland in Anaheim. And the next day I had some time to kill and I needed to get sort of over near the airport. So I went to Santa Monica Pier, which is in so many movies, and a really iconic spot. And then you walk down Venice Beach along that, God, I could name a million. Casey Neistat's been there a million times. Who else? Film clips and everything, and there's just everything there, and it's a freak show. Everyone who doesn't go to Disneyland pretty much ends up on the beach at Venice Beach. It was so cool. Not sure if I'll do that again, though it's a whole day of entertainment.
If you've got time to kill, but how many days will you have after all your work stuff?
I have potentially 3 days.
3 days in California.
Yeah.
What trouble can you get up to? I'm a bit jealous I'm not going.
I think they've got enough trouble as it is. So, another question I have is... SIM cards in the US. I need data. Telstra in Australia charge me, I think it's $50 per gig overseas. So $50 per 1 gigabyte of data. That's a complete rip-off. Eurobike cost me $300 for the data I used over there, and that was really, really slim pickings on the data. So if anyone can let me know what SIM card I can get when I land in LA, that'd be much appreciative. I'll flip the card out. I don't really need to keep my phone number or anything like that. I can just take a temporary number and use data. That's primarily what I use the phone for.
And then you'll be able to set up content while you're there.
Yeah, and that's a big one. As you saw, if anyone who's followed the channel through my Eurobike trip, it's so hard to travel and get good content out. You can collect a lot of content, but it takes days afterwards to put it all together, because it's better to grab all the content and spend 15 hours a day grabbing content and doing and being, rather than sitting in a hotel room and editing for 6 hours. So follow me on YouTube, obviously, Instagram and Twitter, and the GP Lama Facebook page. I'll be putting up stuff on that. It's really quick, easy, and cheap for me to put content up on there, and you can be ahead of the curve of what's coming up on the YouTube channel. Tons of stuff, though. It's going to be heaps of fun. Rightio. On to our movie reviews. Now, this is not I was going to do separate videos for every movie that we did, but I'll just jam this one in here because we've been pretty time poor the last week. We watched Stars and Watercarriers. We went old school.
Yeah, it was old. Very old Giro.
Now, I'm not much of a cycle historian, but I do like to see where bikes have come from, where the racing's come from, what changes have been in. So this Stars and Watercarriers was the 1973 Giro featuring Eddie Merckx. So my comments that I made on this, we sat down and watched it. I may have fallen to sleep for 5 minutes. It was after our hilly rides. I don't think I missed much. The narration was very flat. Very old school. We're
Very
talking,
dry.
Yeah, we're talking down tube shifters, no helmets. They all had caps on.
Good luft going on.
Oh yeah, it's there wasn't
one bottle per bike, down tube, gear shifters, lace-up shoes, toe straps, knitted jumpers, big ass pockets on the back of them.
Yeah, glass bottles. They were stopping for drinks and getting glass bottles.
Yeah.
But tactically, and I guess the way the race unfolds and things like that, nothing's changed. You've got teammates, you've got team cars behind. And everything was still, it still applies today. Sure, they didn't have race radio. Probably, give or take the benefits of race radio, what that means for the spirit of the sport. But it was a good watch. And Vaughn, your thoughts?
I think it's something that my dad would absolutely love. It showed a lot of the Italian countryside, all of the houses and the road conditions as well. So they were on some sealed roads, but then when they got into the mountain passes and they were climbing up, you could see it was all gravel and dirt, and one section it was mud, and Merckx was calling for another bike, and they were going to bring that for him. They didn't show a changeover or anything, but yeah, from that perspective, it did give a bit of a blow-by-blow description of how the Giro unfolded.
It was definitely no Robbie McEwen and Matty Keenan, though, on the mic.
No.
It was just one guy with talking about what's going on, blah, 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 blah. Really one level.
British accent.
It may send you to sleep.
It might. So the bit where you did actually fall asleep, they changed the pace of the commentary. And it was actually
slower,
the one bit that you probably would have actually enjoyed in the movie, where they were covering the time trial.
Right.
They had a 37-kilometre time trial. They were letting riders off at 2-minute intervals, and they were talking about that the riders had to have strength, psyche, style, and it was this whole the commentary changed to this monologue about time trials and how amazing it was, the trial of truth. And then finally, when they crossed the line, then they switched back over to the style of.
And that's when I woke back up and
yeah. Of what time they set. So I think the guy that they followed for this time trial period, he set a time of 46 minutes and 46 seconds over the 37 Ks. So something like, I think they said he did 48 Ks an hour.
So they were more, it said Stars and Watercarriers. I think they were on more than just water back then at that kind of speed with that kind of technology.
Yeah, he was banging it. You could see his hair flowing in the wind because they weren't wearing helmets. So it's all very stylish. Got to the end, and the team were there with the water. He was drinking San Pellegrino out of glass bottles at the finish line. I'm like, oh, it's so Italian. It's really cute. So yeah, and they did cover the Watercarriers, as you said, where they even had beer bottles in their back jerseys for the really hot days.
And they used to raid stores.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't get outside assistance, but they could stop and raid
cafes
milk
and
bars
stuff.
and stuff. So they'd stop, grab all the stuff, and then jump back on the bike race.
Yeah, and I saw one of the guys had a bottle opener in a chain around his neck. So he was just grabbing a bottle on the bike. It was pretty cute.
And I think 10 minutes in, we saw someone on their iPhone. Must have been a time traveller.
Yeah.
I'll put the footage up here. But he was actually reading the race mocker. We call it in Australia the race mocker, or the course outline, how many Ks or how many miles to go,
That's
elevation and things like that.
Yeah.
And
pretty cool.
if you're quick, This movie is actually on YouTube. I'm not sure about the copyright details or anything like that. Link is below for the full-length movie, and a lot of the stuff we'll cover, I'll try and find ways for you guys to go and watch it. I'm not sure if it'll be up or whether that link will stay, but I'm sure it'll be on iTunes, Netflix. But yeah, well, it's on YouTube. Go
Check it out.
Cool. All right, speaking of YouTube, Rau Blue, the carbon fibre expert that I've covered in one of my videos, Maven's covered in his as well, has started his own YouTube channel and has uploaded a What's Up on Friday. I think it's Friday Beers with Rau, or it's just, he just stuck a phone in front of his face and just had a chat. Anytime Rau puts content out there, I really, really recommend checking it out. He is brilliant. He has so much passion, and Von knows exactly, if I say, look, I'm going to go see Rau for this or that today, or I've got to get something checked out, Von's like, yeah, you'll be back in 2 or 3 hours. It's just brilliant. Anyway, again, link below to Rau's channel. Subscribe. Let him know if you like his content, and hopefully any future videos we do for Rau, I'll get the focus set right because I've been ripped a new one.
That's all right. He's set that up fine. He's now got his Instagram going great guns.
Oh yeah,
with good focus on that.
Now, speaking of putting out good content, Rau had, when I went in there 2-3 weeks ago with the giant out the back here to get the seat post cut. Rau had 375 followers on Instagram.
Okay.
It's now past 2,000.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm one of them.
Yep. I think I was too. I wasn't even sure I was subscribed because I saw his content on Facebook, so I saw it sort of come past my desk anyway.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you put really, really good content out there and people will see it. It's quite interesting. I mean, cutting stuff in half, especially expensive bikes, that is interesting. Another one, link below to that too.
It's great.
So Sydney. A few things to cover about Sydney. First one is, funny story, Von got a flat coming back from the ride the other day, put a, what was it?
It was like a nail, it was that long,
Do you have
but
a photo?
it had a hook in it. Yeah, I'll flick you the image of it.
Photo will go up here. And I get a phone call, it was, must have been super early in the morning, must have been really early, like 8:30, and I was still in bed.
I was like, I'm going to get late for work.
So I get a phone call saying, come pick me up, I've got a flat tyre. I'm like, oh, can you try and just put the tyre on yourself? I haven't done a video on properly fitting a tyre yet. I should have done that. And I just would have said,
the rims, they're really
my
tight.
YouTube channel, load it up.
Panicking, but it was fine. I fixed it myself.
So Von got home and now we're minus one tube. So I was walking down the street to get a tube and bing, up comes a Facebook status update or a message update saying, hey Shane, are you in town? Drop past our bike store. I'm like, well, mate, where's your bike store? I'll come in for a chat one day, sure. I was literally 5 minutes away from this bike store. It was called Two Monkeys.
Cool.
So I went in there, met the team, had a great chat to them. They've just organised a Zwift ride the other day themselves.
Okay.
Without not an official ride or anything like that. They've got a group of riders. The weather was turning crappy, so they just organised a Zwift ride. So they picked my brain about that. Cafe, and the best part about it though was he pulled out a map of where to get around. Again, it's inside local info. So you're like, the best way to know a cycling city, and this is, of course, this is always going to be the case. Talk to a local who rides around, they will show you all the routes, they'll take you all the places. Brilliant. But my timing's off. I don't ride early mornings when everyone else does. But he still put out the map. I've got the map behind me here of how to get to Centennial, secret little tunnels and little, I don't know what they've got in Sydney. They're probably built in the 1820s or something.
They tunnelled through the rock.
Yeah. There's just...
But there's a velodrome that they said was just near us here. So we can go check that out too.
Hell yeah. We've been riding past this velodrome I didn't even know about. I can't even think of it because I'm terrible with names, but it's Tempe. People will know. If you're watching from Sydney, it's a Tempe velodrome or something like that.
Cool.
We can go do leg day there. We can do swap offs. We can do
Paceline day.
Yeah.
Woo!
So we'll get out there with the camera when I'm back in town, and we'll have a bit of fun at a velodrome. Probably a bit too much wind to do any aerodynamic testing. Oh, but it's kind of died down. If we can get a really, really still day, we can do some basic aero testing. Von and I had done that over in Adelaide a few years back where I said, look, let's ride around the crit course in the drops, super low, and then press the lap button, we'll ride around the course, same speed, in, sitting upright and just see the difference. And that's just really, really basic aero testing that can be done on any velodrome. So we might go out there. We'll see what we can do anyway.
Okay.
When we've got the time. Two Monkeys Bike Shop, awesome guys. And
thanks for the tubes.
Yeah,
I'll be back to get some more because I'm going to get more flats here in Sydney.
So we've got some tubes. So more on Sydney. An article came out. Now, last Lama Live and throughout my other social media stuff, I've been saying, look, riding around Sydney is difficult. It's intimidating. The roads really aren't built for it. But if you find the right roads and speak to the right people, you can get around. There's a few gotchas. Coming off the other side of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, there's a set of stairs. Or if you're really technical, you can ride down the middle section.
Get it.
Yeah, it's not... It's a difficult city to get around. What I was surprised with this week is an article came out from, well, quoting Cadell Evans, and we both read it. What it seemed to do, it just seemed to echo... Well, in a nutshell, Cadell was saying he will ride in any city around the world except Sydney. Because it's intimidating, it's a waste of his time. I'm paraphrasing here to make it sound spectacular. But it was a waste of his time. He'd rather go home to Barwon Heads and ride around there because there's so much aggro around, really aggro. The traffic was really aggro. We have not had, in my experience, riding around Sydney, being a courteous rider, not being a dick, waving to traffic, I have not had anybody go aggro at me. We've done a few Ks around town now. Again, admittedly, it's not right in the CBD. We are not ripping skids on fixies delivering Deliveroo pizzas or something like that. I actually nearly got taken out. Oh God, I wish I had a GoPro on me. I nearly got taken out by one of those guys the other day. Anyhow, but if you're a courteous rider, I think people are okay. I think we're all, in Sydney, I think everyone's in the same boat. Geez, this traffic's tough. Or geez, I'm getting from A to B very slowly. We're all in it together. So I found that article quite negative, and from somebody who has a high profile in the sport, somebody who's promoting cycling. We all remember the Cadell Effect back in, well, we went over and watched him finish the Tour de France. When he got second, 2007. So we're a big supporter of Cadell, and I think as an advocate for cycling, that article was no good.
I was a bit disappointed to see that was the direction that the article took.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to have a whinge about certain things to get any action. You've got to identify what the problems are. But I'd rather Cadell say, look, it's kind of terrible. Let's work forward for it, though. Let's hold a bunch ride, or let's go talk to the locals. Go chat to the guys at Two Monkeys or Athlete Lab or Bike Bug or Sydney Uni Velo.
Work out the best way to get people on bikes in safe areas and, working well with the community. It doesn't need to be a negative.
Yeah, this article was just straight out bang, bang, bang. And then Cadell's identifying all these little tiny things that just... like the stairs at the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and I mean, things that do need to be fixed. But I think bigger picture here, that ended up in you getting an email from a work colleague.
Yeah, it was like literally late night last night. My work colleague shot me a message saying, please stay safe up in Sydney. She knew that I'd travelled with my bike up here while I was working, and please don't get killed. I'm like, well, the traffic's been pretty good for me so far, but it only takes one car, so but thank you for your concern.
But it also just takes one article from like that being painted as a... So I can understand if Sydneysiders actually get pretty defensive about that, and it won't be too happy. I think there's a better way of doing it than just spitting out there, using a high-profile cyclist out there to just identify the issues. It'd be better if they came through with solutions as well. Anyhow, but we are cracking the code to Sydney. I've got that. I showed Von my flat route today.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Brilliant. And it's a lot of hard work. Dead flat. What else? Non-delivery of coffee. We stopped for a coffee at the end. Oh man,
it took a long time.
Captain Cook's Drive. We're like, this is going to be along the beach. It was really nice. We stopped for a coffee, and every cyclist knows you order a coffee and you sit back. You know your number. When your number is called, bang, your ears prick up. So we're sitting there waiting. There's probably 10 people at the cafe. There was hardly anyone there.
Yeah.
We did not hear that number called.
It was not called.
10 minutes later, we're like, sorry.
I went for the hassle. I was like, wait a second, there's been other numbers called.
Oh, no, it had been called. No. Sorry, the coffee was sitting here for ages and no one came to pick it up. Anyway, tall stories from me. We finally got the coffee. It was quite nice. But I think I might pass on that next time. On the way back as well, we found some... we did a quick bike review of something I found on the road. Okay, quick episode of what's inside my cycling gear. This is what's inside a Knog rear flasher. I think, Ron, do you run one of these? You run exactly one of these. USB charger. Well, that was the USB charger. So we have the battery. So resembles pretty much a Galaxy S7 Note, I think, battery. So we'll leave that there. There's the circuitry inside. Not too much of the circuitry. I think that's probably the light or the LED on it as well. So end of days. Actually, we'll call that one Roadkill Bike Gear Reviews. I think whatever we find on the side of the road that's been crushed, we'll pull over and review it. That didn't hold up too well. Thanks for watching.
And we're both on our probationary licenses.
We are. I think anybody listening to this, anybody listening to this on the podcast, I'm sorry, we'll put up some visuals here, a bit of fun we had. Around Sydney, you'll always see the P plate, the little plastic P plates they have on cars, because there's 80 k's an hour, 90 k's an hour, 100 k's an hour, depending on, I guess, what status. You've got to level up, I guess, to get your driver's license.
Yeah.
But these things just fly off cars all the time. So anyway, we found a few of those on the road and had a bit of fun. Out on the ride yesterday, we were using our bells quite a lot.
Yep.
So was Gina.
Half action. Yep.
Yeah, so ding, ding, ding on the bells. Gina had a Knog Oi.
Yes.
I've spoken about the Knog Oi.
She was a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I can't get them. Funnily enough, the day after I said I can't get, because I did the video on bells and why we put a bike bell on, and because it's law in Australia and it's being, rah. Everyone, and I forgot to mention, I looked into the Knog Oi and I couldn't find them. They weren't in the stores yet. And everyone's commented, Knog Oi, get a Knog Oi, get a Knog Oi. But no one, I don't think, has bought one. Or if they did, they were a Kickstarter and they've already had one. The day after that video came out, they were distributed to all the stores.
Bad timing.
So I looked like a right idiot. Or it looked like I was in part of the marketing for Knog, but
you haven't got one.
Wasn't the case. So Gina's riding along, ding, ding, ding on her bell, and then doom. She's like, oh, it just broke. So it was a Knog Oi. It was Knog. So I've got a video of that, and I'll play that now.
Broke it.
So it's a no-go Knog. Knog-go. What actually happened with it? It's actually...
Vigorous ringing. Oh.
I fixed it.
It sounds better than before, because before it was like clump. Yeah.
So, but that's just a design thing of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the spring holds it in place.
And there's a little track for it.
Oh, sweet. You even rings better.
I can fix computers and ois.
An upgrade from Shane.
So the goal of the video when I pulled the camera out there was just to show the Knog Oi, and it might have been a little bit too flimsy. Ended up I did fix it for her, and it started ringing a little better. Anyhow, if you have a Knog Oi, watch out, and that's the reason why I couldn't cover one, because they weren't out at the stores yet. Speaking of what's coming out in stores soon as well, the Tax Flux trainer, the biggest and probably the biggest talked about trainer over at Eurobike, but they weren't available. Like a lot of things, they're announced, they're pre-announced, and it takes a little bit longer to get the ball rolling. And
so December?
Yes,
okay.
I believe December. So I should have the Flux video out, which would be the unboxing and the first rides, maybe a few bunch rides and the sprint tests and everything before Christmas. And almost to wrap up today, the training video I did last week of leg day.
Yeah.
Let me tell you the backstory of that. It was a Tuesday, because Tuesday's leg day. I explained in the video why Tuesday's leg day, but I thought, look, I've got nothing today to upload. What can I do? I've got to go for a ride. I'll take the camera along. That turned out really, really well. And I said to Von earlier when I was uploading, I don't think this video will do too well. It's just me riding up a hill or explaining what I'm doing. But I think it was a little bit of insight into a real training session, or making something out of nothing.
Yeah. I suppose it's like we do virtual intervals with training software all the time, and here's a way you can do it outdoors.
Yeah, that session absolutely can be done indoors, and that's what indoors about. It's hard session down, or sorry, hard interval up down, hard interval up down. That's your few minutes over. But I guess that doesn't work on your bike skills or bike handling as well. This one, I guess you've got to if you don't take that corner right, or a car comes the other way, or a car fails to give way. It was about being a bike rider rather than just being an indoor fitness enthusiast, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think I'd love to do a lot more of those, and over summer a lot more of those will come out. The Lama rides videos, I've got a back catalogue of a lot of rides and races I've done with the camera on the bike.
Great.
I'll try and put power on those as well as an overlay if it's applicable.
Yeah,
what I mean by that is for an up and down time trial at Q, my power, it doesn't really matter what the power was. It's all based on time and speed. And if you're going to re-ride these with something like KinoMap, or just ride them on any other video software that you can just play the video, power is a bit misleading, because you could be doing 200 watts at the time or more watts than me at the time, and it's not. And so it's a bit funny putting power overlay if you're going to be using it as a training video. Speed and time. Time's probably the best one. But where I can, the uphill ones are quite interesting.
Yep.
So I've got a bit of a back catalogue I'll upload the next few days or so when I'm away. But I'll try and keep uploading on a regular basis. And I think we'll call it the day for Lama Life.
Sounds good.
So thanks for coming along, Yvonne. And thanks for wearing your cycling... So what is it? The Col de la... Quoi?
Defer.
Quite a fur.
Yes, this is one of the rides that I did when I was over in France. Is it 10 years yet? It's been a while.
Okay.
But yeah, when we went for a cycling holiday, spent 5 weeks in France. It was fantastic.
If you've done that climb, let me know. And we'll have to head over and do it again.
We're going to take Shane. He's never been cycling in France.
Not in France, no. There's a lot of climbs out of Bormio we've got to tick off though. I've done
All
2.
right, I'll show you France. You show me Italy.
Okay, but I think there's snow in Bormio at the moment, so we'll stay well clear of that. I'm going to the beach, the Long Beach. All right, well, so anyway, let me know below. The most important one is what SIM card for me to get? Have you ridden that hill? What else can we talk about?
Take care of Shane over in the US.
We'll finish with that. Thanks for watching. Will they let me in after saying that?
I don't know. We've checked his history. I'm sorry, there's references to guns.
He said, what on YouTube? Jesus. We all use Garmin's here. What?